We're going to call this meeting to order. Can I get everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any changes to the agenda?
I have none. Did you have any, Mayor?
Yeah. So I wanted to table item 5.9 and bring that back at a future meeting. Anyone else have any changes?
No. Table 5-9.
Yeah. Can I entertain a motion? Approve the agenda with the changes?
I'll motion to approve the agenda with changes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Agenda is passed. Going to move on to item number 2, which is award presentation, appointments, and proclamations. 2.1 is proclamation National Public Work Week 2026. All right, does this thing work? You got me? Okay. You have to bear with me here because it's kind of small writing. Proclamation by the Mayor of the City of Coalinga, National Public Work Week. Whereas the Public Works Department provides services for our community and are vital and integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of the community is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, street, fleet maintenance, building maintenance, wastewater treatment, solid waste collection, and airport operations. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the effort and skill of the public work officials. And whereas the efficiency and effectiveness of the qualified and skilled staff contribute to the quality of life that residents and visitors alike enjoy and rely upon from the City of Coalinga. Whereas by the Mayor and the City Council, that we recognize and extend appreciation to our dedicated and skilled staff, and hereby proclaim the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week, rooted in service, powered by community. Whereas that the City Council requests that all citizens and civic organizations acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing public works services to our community and recognize the contributions which our public works employees make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and the City Council that we do hereby proclaim the month of February. Oh no, this isn't correct. This is going to be the month of May, and it is going to be National Public Works Week. In witness hereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Coalinga to be affixed this 7th day of May, 2026. And I'm going to be presenting this to our city manager, our Assistant City Manager, Jesse Barone. Thank you so much. And I'm going to give the mic to you.
Just a quick few words. I'm accepting this on behalf of all the hard work that our public works staff does. They're a great team. I'm honored to lead them. And thank you to the City of Coalinga. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor.
We're going to move on to item number 2.2, State Insurance Legislative Updates. Richie Sayavong, did I say that correctly? Yes. With the State of California Department of Insurance.
Perfect. All right. Good evening, Mayor, the City of Coalinga. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Richie Saivong with the California Department of Insurance. And, it is my pleasure to present some legislative updates, some of the changes that the department has been working on in regards to insurance and consumer protection. All right, so let's kind of start with this. Just a quick overview. Probably wondering, what is CDI? What is the Department of Insurance? We're the state agency that regulates the insurance marketplace here. We set the standards for your insurance companies, agents, and brokers that want to do business here in California. But most importantly, we're here to protect consumers from fraud and abuse. We also investigate insurance fraud. We resolve consumer complaints. So if you're having issues with, say, life, home, fire, auto, any type of insurance, feel free to give us a call. That's what we're here to assist with. We are under the direction of the Honorable Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara. This is his last term, or last year of his term. So we do expect a new insurance commissioner to be elected this year. Real quickly, how to engage with the Department of Insurance. Raising awareness about insurance leads us to education. California Department of Insurance, we have some presentations that we can go over. We have homeowners, renters, business insurance, senior scam presentations, talking about the state of the insurance market, the low-cost auto insurance program, emergency preparedness, disaster recovery, market, and legislative updates. So some of the engagement options there, just various slew of things that we can do. I will be your liaison from the department to be here to facilitate those presentations, workshops, anything else on there. So let's go into what's going on with the insurance market. So over the past 30 years, ever since Proposition 103 became a thing, we haven't had really any large insurance reforms. This is facing historic inflation, rising costs of reinsurance, which is insurance for insurance companies. It's an ongoing issue here because we're looking at the different changes of climate change threats. There's been more fires, more floods, multiple perils that we've been seeing on a higher level, not just here in California, globally. We're seeing fewer insurance options here in California, and we're seeing accelerated growth of the fair plan, the unfair plan, the not so fair plan. There's multiple names that a lot of people call it, but overall, the top 12 companies in California owns about 85% of the state homeowners insurance market. And since 2022, 7 of those top 12 insurance groups have paused or restricted business just in general. But here's kind of the things what we've been focusing on with the department. Back in 2022, we started the Safer from Wildfires framework. This is the first in the nation regulation. We're, telling homeowners, if you do more work on your property, such as establishing defensible space, clearing out brush, having a Class A rated roof, enclosed eaves, those will in turn provide discounts for your insurance policy, overall premium. And insurance companies have actually followed suit for this. The Protect Your Home community part, a lot of Firewise communities are established throughout the valley, and those communities, they work together. It's usually 8 households or a group of neighbors working together to clear out brush, chip trees, things such as that to make their homes safer. And as a community works together, you see just how well and how resilient communities can be once you put in that work. So moving on to the sustainable insurance strategy. As I mentioned, we haven't had really large reforms until recently. This was pretty much the goal. We're going to modernize the insurance marketplace to be more accessible to Californians, to be resilient in the face of climate change, and ultimately, of course, protect the consumers. The way that insurance has been written in the past prior to this reform, it's been using historical data. When you look at historical data in California specifically, what have we seen in California? Fires, flood. Not really great to underwrite insurance. So with this new reform called the Sustainable Insurance Strategy, we have created or are using catastrophe models, which are forward-looking models that help insurance companies better predict how a home can withstand any type of disaster, so specifically fire. So we've also pushed forward the California Safe Homes Act. This was AB 888. This was passed last year. So this grant is in development currently, but it does provide $10,000 to low-income homeowners in a high fire zone with funding to establish Zone 0, which is the immediate 5 feet away from the structure, and a Class A rated roof. But here's some comparisons here. So why are we supporting all these long initiatives? So back in 1994, back when I was born, we had the Northridge earthquake with a magnitude of 6.7 at 4 a.m. in the morning. Does anybody actually remember this earthquake? All right. So in regards to insurance, it was extremely impactful, creating an insurance crisis and fundamentally changing how residents get coverage. Fearing bankruptcy at 90% of insurance companies, they left the state of California, which established the California Earthquake Authority. So the low take-up rate, despite California experiencing 90% of the nation's earthquakes, only 10 to 15% of homeowners actually have it. There's a huge coverage gap. So the low uptake leaves a large percentage of California residents exposed to significant risk if another major earthquake occurs. And then another comparison here. Of course, the Palisades and Eaton fire. That led to insurance companies, again, stopping writing policies or leaving California. The difference, we are learning from the history and changing the approach. So leading these initiatives, Commissioner Lara worked on safer from wildfires, mitigation strategies, and wildfire risk score transparency. We integrated catastrophe modeling, which expands coverage availability, modernizes the FAIR Plan, and streamlines rate filings. The long-term goal of this initiative is to prevent a total market collapse and to stabilize insurance rates. So we have some updates from the Sustainable Insurance Strategy. We have approved 5 insurers. Their effective dates are all scattered, but we have approved CSAA, USAA, California Casualty, Mercury, and Pacific Specialty. So we're making headways and getting the insurers back into California. But moving on to the bills that the department is sponsoring. So we have sponsored AB 1795, written by Assemblymember Mike Gibson. So essentially, it primarily addresses residential properties impacted by wildfire smoke. Its core mandates relate to state-level standards for testing, certification, insurance coverage, and cleanup. So part of this bill kind of came to fruition because of the Palisades fire. A lot of folks were going back into homes that still were pretty damaged badly by smoke. A remediation team came out, did the work, but did it poorly. So that caused a bunch of homeowners to request another remediation team out of their pocket to fix that issue. But we're focusing on accountability and professionalism. We are going to set Cal EPA health-based standards for testing and chemical screening of smoke-impacted properties, and it requires insurers to inspect smoke damage claims within a 30-day notice. This legislation also directly involves your city in several ways. Industrial side, a Paramount or a residential property could catch fire. So we want to make sure we have clear standards, which replaces inconsistent smoke damage results. Quick local control, so your cities can set rules for insurers that they must follow right away. Safer homes, using science-based screenings to protect residents. A faster recovery. It reduces disputes and speeds rebuilding. Moving on to the Disaster Recovery Reform Act. This is SB 876, written by Senator Steve Padilla. So this is to modernize the insurance claim process following the wildfires in 2025. Senator Padilla introduced this to hold insurance companies to higher standards when helping homeowners after a major disaster. It helps homeowners get their insurance payouts faster and with less hassle after a disaster. This bill requires insurers to have a clear plan for helping victims and punishes them more harshly if they delay claims. Faster payouts, which mandates actual cash value of payments within 30 days for total losses with interest on delays. The rebuilding process ensures building code upgrades are based on codes in effect during rebuilding, not at the time of. And the goal is to eliminate the red tape and speed up payouts for survivors. So we want to have insurance accountability. Predictable insurer behavior improves coordination with city-led recovery efforts. Quicker cash flow reduces burden on local social services. Greater housing stability limits pressure on emergency shelters and rehousing programs. Clearer accountability in claims promotes community trust and reduces municipal advocacy burdens. The goal, of course, as I mentioned, eliminate that red tape. So moving on to the FAIR Plan, the Make It Fair Act. This is AB 1680, written by Assemblymember Lisa Calderon. The Make It Fair Act is focused on enhancing consumer protection and expanding the insurance commissioner's authority to ensure the plan operates effectively. You know, though that they are the insurer of last resort, we want to make sure that they're at least solid. You know, so some brief background on the California FAIR Plan. This is the insurer of last resort, a temporary safety net. It was established after the 1965 Watts riots, where insurance companies left the area due to $40 million in losses. The FAIR Plan is not a state agency. It is funded and ran by the private insurance companies, but it offers basic coverage for only named perils such as fire, lightning, internal combustions, or explosions, and more. So the FAIR Plan is regulated by the Department of Insurance, but we make sure they follow the law. However, their governing committee, which is private insurers, figure out how to barely follow the law. So some additional key points, the pathways back to private insurance. So we're aiming to establish a clearinghouse with the FAIR Plan to effectively transition folks back into the traditional market. Enforceable standards. So the Department of Insurance has some legal requirements. If the FAIR Plan fails to implement operational and consumer protection benchmarks, there's penalties of $10,000 per violation or $20,000 per willful violation. So why was this bill pushed forward? The bill was prompted by a report of examination following the 2025 Los Angeles wildfires, which found systemic failures in the FAIR Plan's claims handling and governance, as the FAIR Plan has exploded to over 668,000 policies, nearly 6% of the California state market. Regulators argue it can no longer operate as a secretive organization with limited consumer protections. So how does this affect you? Oh, well, this is just summarizing what I just said. But we are going to have the FAIR Plan hire more staff, a 3 to 5 year plan, essentially being able to handle claims more efficiently and be able to pick up the phone. That's pretty much the big issue there. They don't ever want to answer the phone. So we do have a call to action here. Here's a QR code if you would like to support these bills. We also have the link there to support, garner your support for these bills. There are draft letters available on the website as well. And we can personalize it to have it sent to your state senator or your state assembly member. We have also started a statewide education series. This is totally free. We've had 2 so far. One being auto insurance, the second life insurance annuities for our seniors. But upcoming in June, we have our residential insurance coverage and then health insurance and business insurance to follow to round out the end of the year. To stay up to date with the Department of Insurance, we have consumer alerts. Anytime that there's new changes coming down the line, any new regulations, any cases that we close in regards to fraud, you'll get information on it right away. And here's how to get a hold of us. To reach my branch specifically, it's crob@insurance.ca.gov. We're all over social media, so Instagram, X, Facebook. We have our consumer hotline number there at 800-927-4357 or insurance.ca.gov. Feel free to reach out to us there. And this last slide, just a quick survey. If you thought this presentation was great or if it was terrible, feel free to leave me a review. But at this time, I will take questions.
Council?
Yeah, I got some questions. So at first, I didn't realize you were a state agency. So I was going to burn you up about communicating with the state, but since you're the state, you need to communicate with your friends that I heard you mention climate change and other things, and that's all good and dandy, but the state of California is responsible for our forests. And a lot of at least a lot of people would argue that if they manage the forests better and nature in general in the state, fires wouldn't be a problem. Are you guys working on that kind of stuff?
So-
Communicating back and forth.
Yeah, so in essentially what we're doing with the support with CAL FIRE in conjunction with the Safer from Wildfires regulation itself, a lot of the communities have done prescribed burns and have established fire breaks in the 168 and the 180 corridor. So those are projects that communities are putting together and using grant funding from the state and federal funds as well. I know the Forest Service is actually working on a few projects up there as well, but I didn't get to touch base with them recently at an event. So, but there is work and some forest management being done. When we talk about homeowners in particular, insurance is written based on risk, and believe me, a lot of the homeowners that survived the Creek Fire have either started rebuilding or in the process still rebuilding or have completed, and yet they still don't have access to insurance because even though they rebuilt with the steel frame of the house, insurance companies won't insure them or write for them. So there's still a lot of work to be done from our department, and we do recognize that as well.
Yeah, that's where I see the work needing to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, same with the thing with being in some of these tables of meetings that we go to. I've seen that a lot of it, they concentrate on climate control, but they never concentrate on human error. The latest fires have been happening has been human error. Climate change due to water, whatever. There's a lot of water that goes into the ocean. Could be, acclimated into saving it and using for these fires. Is there a way that you guys talk about human error, or you guys just concentrate on climate change?
So it more coincides with CAL FIRE on how their prevention and work is done out there. The communities that have survived and are resilient after these wildfires, they know exactly what to cover up. They know that folks need to cover their chains when they're going up, in altitude, and just in general, these communities themselves have been very, very proactive in their work and making sure their neighbors, or at least their property, is protected. They want to make sure their whole community is protected. But in prevention, that's really, it boils back down to the community itself. It's always not, these homeowners up there, they know exactly what's going on. They wouldn't cause a fire themselves. But it is definitely people that go up towards the mountains, towards Shaver, towards Bass Lake, towards, any type of mountain area, and they're the ones typically causing the errors. And as you drive up, you see CAL FIRE. Hey, the warning's really high chance of fire today. At least it's education, really, on most part.
Yeah, because I would like to see more mitigation and brainstorming on human error instead of just concentrating on climate control.
Yeah.
That's most of the times I see it, and that's like a broken record. Climate control, and it's I've seen some numbers where lightning causes less fire than human error. So, but thank you.
Yes.
So, if you look at the two major ones that we've just had, the new two major fires, the one that was caused by PG&E, who paid for that? We did. Yeah. We did. We all did. We got to pay for it. Wasn't our fault, but we get to pay for it in our PG&E rates. You also get to pay for it in your insurance rates. Thank the Fair Act for that. Still paying for it. Palisades fire. Who started that? Arsonist. That they didn't tell anyone that an arsonist, and they lied about it. And now it was just in the news 2 days ago, they have an arsonist. We knew this was the case. And they didn't have water in their fire reserves. They didn't have it. Who's responsible? Not us, but guess who gets to pay? We do. Again, we get nailed again for this. PG&E should have been forced to go out of business for this. It's not fair. They should have had to have the big chunk of that loss, not the rest of us. LA should be held responsible, LA County, for not keeping the water in those things. But yet all the rest of us are paying the bill. And this FAIR Act, this is just another thing about that. It's about making the price go up for the rest of us because we're all going to be dumping into our insurance companies. And the state is the one who allowed the insurance companies for these raises to go back up. They're the ones that said, okay, the insurance companies got together and said, hey, we can't afford this. And rather than lowering their profits and taking the losses for themselves, they either cut and run or they say you guys need to allow every single homeowner in the state of California, rather than be looking at in a fire zone, you will now be forced to pay into it. We've seen prices double. People that were paying $2,000 and $3,000 a year are now paying $6,000 a year in Coalinga because of this stuff that's not even close to us. We have no risk of this, and we're the ones paying. And so I'm very unhappy with the insurance commissioner. I'm very unhappy that the idea to fix this problem has not been to hold agencies accountable and to hold local agencies that did not fund fire accountable and to allow agencies to hide the data from the public. And then to work with companies like PG&E to give them a bailout, to work with companies like the insurance companies to give them a bailout and put it on to all of us. So I'm sorry, I didn't have a question, but I just had a comment about this because it really makes me mad.
Yeah, to address
It's unfair.
Yeah, Mayor, to address the rate concerns in California. So prior to what we've been dealing with, insurance companies, because of Proposition 103, they have been limited to only a 6.99 rate increase. Anything above that margin or that amount requires a hearing held by the state and the insurance company. This opens it up to interveners, which in turn get paid for participating in a state hearing. Where does that money come from? It comes from the state, so us taxpayers, as well as the insurers. What we've seen ultimately throughout this time period of all these disastrous fires, insurance companies have absorbed a lot of more risk, and they've taken on way too much business. That's what we've seen in the case of State Farm. State Farm took on a lot of those folks that were dropped, non-renewed, canceled from whatever reason. They saturated themselves and thus prevented themselves, having enough money to pay out when a fire happened. So that's the case with a lot of insurers. And what we've been trying to establish in California in itself, and this kind of relates back to the California, not just insurance market, but also real estate market. The real estate market here in California, we're seeing homes, reported by Dr. Way. He said that homes in California statistically move up 2% each year. Insurance companies have not kept up with that, nor have they factored in all the costs of rebuilding on the cost of just everything in general. So what we're trying to manage is just, preventing this total collapse of insurance companies. We want to make sure they stay in business here in California. We want to make sure that their rates are competitive here in California. The one thing, Commissioner does state often, it's like you can't afford what's not available. When you don't have options, how can you pay any price for your insurer? Of course, a lot of folks flock to the FAIR plan, but ultimately, with what we've been doing and what we've been pushing forward, insurers are back here in California and they're ready to do business once again on clearer standards, but with more transparency. Us as an agency, we have that oversight to do so. So if there's ever a complaint, any type of, mischecked box on any application that folks are applying for a new policy, the department here is here to oversee that.
Well, what I seen on your slides would not make me want to do business in California. I'd run for the hills. Everything was negative towards the businesses. We're going to make you pay more. We're going to be more ruthless when you have problems. Why not just set a system that says that the risk system is what it is? If you live by the ocean and you live next to a fire zone, you're going to be paying for that, not the rest of us. But what they do, no, let's remove the zones and let's say that has to be undone. What they did with the FAIR plan has to be undone, because if they don't undo it, we're constantly going to be paying for everybody else this entire time. They actually changed the rules of the FAIR plan. They didn't just make it to where we all pay more. They changed the rules. Now the rules state that everybody is looked at as one. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. I shouldn't be paying so that somebody else can take over and be like, oh, well, we need more money in our coffers. Because that is really what's happening. They need more money, so they're coming to us to get it. And that's not fair. So their actuating systems that they've been allowed to do this. And let me tell you, I'd much rather pay for a hearing. I don't even care about that. So what? A hearing. Let the agitators come in and do that. This has been going on, since you've pointed out, for a long time. And the state of California has not addressed this. You know why? Because they've been allowing it to happen. Just like with PG&E rate increases, they're right there allowing it to happen. So to act like these are two separate entities is ridiculous. These are the same entities. They're buddies. They're friends. That's why they didn't bail us out. They bailed them out. And I'm sorry, but I'm very passionate about this because I have a lot of people in this room who are getting pummeled by insurance companies. It's not fair. And there's nothing you can say that's going to take that away. So until you can tell me how you're going to lower our insurance rates back down, I'm going to be an unhappy person.
Yep. No, I definitely want to address that. So with the sustainable insurance strategy itself, we have pushed forward with these catastrophe models that homeowners will be looked at the individual parcel level, not grouped into zip codes, not grouped into by county. It's looking at the individual parcel level, exactly how a home will withstand a fire, a flood, all the types of peril. So that's what Commissioner has been pushing forward with the agency, with the insurers. And the big thing that he has told them, it's like, look, we can't continually see you file rate applications every single month because you need to adjust your numbers and to grow your numbers overall, right? He's told them, tell me a rate that you want to set, and I don't want to see you for another 5-10 years until we need to do this again. So it's working. We are working with the insurers. The reinsurance part of it, prior to this new reform, there wasn't much reinsurance options available for insurance companies. So this is their insurance for the insurance companies. So now they do have that funding. And with commissioners' travels to talk with these reinsurers, they said, look, we are willing to double, quadruple down in California to do business again. We have to remember, California is the largest insurance marketplace in the United States and 4th in the world. So we have to be able to manage that and be able to lead the way in transparency, but also competitive pricing once again.
Well, to me, I want competitive pricing to be what it should be, which means if you own a $100 million house on the beach, you're going to be paying a massive insurance for that because your house is now at a risk for a flood. If you're near a fire zone, you need to be paying for that, but that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing we need to make this affordable for everyone. And when we're talking affordable, look at the houses so far in the Palisades. A lot of those were super expensive houses, and they're coming back to us now and saying, oh, we didn't get our fair share. Most of those people could afford to rebuild, but that's a whole nother ordeal. The amount to rebuild, that's another state issue right there. We were told we were going to allow these people to rebuild, and what have they done? They've stopped it at every step of the way. So to me, it's a boondoggle from California. The state is just out of control, and I don't mean to blame you directly, and I appreciate you coming and listening to our concerns, and I hope that you take the passion that at least we're giving you back with you, and you can have anyone reach out to us, and we can give them real stories of people that are struggling because of insurance, not people that are going to be taking advantage of the fact that we get to pay more so that they don't have to. So anyhow, anyone on council want to make any more last statements?
Go ahead.
Do you have any numbers for applicants? We'll go prior to the Palisades fire, LLA fires. Do you have a number of annual applicants that applied for the FAIR program?
That I can definitely refer to with my staff.
Do you have a percent? Do you know of a percentage that were approved for the FAIR program?
The FAIR plan, that I have to find statistically with our consumer services.
So this
division.
strikes close with me. I have a cabin up in fire zone. It's considered a fire zone up south of Yosemite. Since 2018, insurance has pulled out on us. Checked every box, no matter what list they sent us to fulfill to carry our insurance, we were denied. Then the FAIR program came in and again checked every box, clean the properties, clean the trees, new roof, repairs, everything done, deny, until finally we were given a $2,500 a month insurance bill to cover a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom cabin. How are we gonna afford that? It's a vacation home. still to this day, 2018 till now, no insurance. We have somebody robs it, we'll have liability, but no fire protection. At one point, they actually told us to put a airport hangar foam system on the property, and they would carry our insurance. The stuff that you brought up, the state's not having any accountability. There's no accountability for the state taking care of what they started, 20 years of neglect in our forests. Now they want to pass the buck and they want to hold insurance accountable for who already have a tough time doing business here. They have accepted everything. Now with the Palisades fire, they're ballooned out of control. They cannot cover us. Now, again, like the mayor has stated, we are picking up the bill. What's the FAIR program? What's the state doing to hold accountability before you pass on your fines and your fees to insurance companies who are trying to do business? They're trying to stay alive. They're trying to offer premiums, but they're unable to. The state still has red tape, like you're saying, to rebuild. What's the FAIR? What's the state doing to hold accountability first before they pass it on to somebody else?
So yeah, talking about, passing the money on to other folks and other Californians. So that would fall under the topic of reinsurance or an assessment that has been, approved by the commissioner. Of course, it has to go through a judge, but we haven't had an assessment in years. That conversation did come up following the Palisades and Eden fire because the FAIR plan was possibly going to go insolvent, but they were able to secure funds. So the whole ballooning effect, and I've talked to folks in the 168, 180 corridor. They have been able to access traditional insurance through CSAA or USAA, just the insurers that we've approved. The way that we're holding insurance companies accountable in this sense is that we're going to overview their overall book of business, see where they're writing policies once again, because we want them to flood the market to give you options. That way you're not just stuck with the FAIR plan. You have options like USAA, CSAA, Pacific Specialty, California Casualty, whoever it may be. We're working with these insurers because they never had access to these tools. Other states have used these catastrophe models to write insurance for many, many years. California has never adopted it until recently. And so with these changes and the conversations that we've had with insurers and, with the work that you've done on your property, there's insurance companies that offer those discounts specifically for the Class A rated roof, for the enclosed eaves. Everything that you've done on your property itself should be able to get you a discount. It's variable. But all in all, they have accepted all these terms with the department, whether it be, the Safer from Wildfires. That's the first part of it, and the new sustainable insurance strategy. So we're constantly trying to get them back in business to prop them up to do better in California. We won't want them to fail. With the whole situation of us losing insurers, such as Geico just picking up and leaving and closing all their offices here, we don't want that just, especially with State Farm. They're one of the largest carriers that we have in the state.
It's going to happen now that litigation is being brought against State Farm. They're going to pull out. They're gone. They're going to do everything they can because the state of California is putting the red tape in front of them so they can't do business. The state of California, do they want to create a California insurance where everybody's covered? And then if they're having this problem right now, what's going to happen when they want to rebuild?
Well, the one thing with the reason why we have that litigation in front of State Farm is just because of the way that they were handling claims back with the Palisades and Eden fire and just all fires in general. Just leaving folks on red for months on end. So, of course, us as a consumer protection agency, we want to make sure those folks are taken care of. They say you're in good hands. Where are those hands? Like a good neighbor, they're not really a good neighbor being there to support you. So we want to make sure that they are held to that standard, and we as the department can prosecute that.
They might be a neighbor, but the state's the landlord. The state is the one that is in charge. They're not the neighbor. State Farm is renting a room off the state. The state's the landlord.
Yeah, I guess in short, I think what's happening is that these premiums are being raised, and what the act that you guys are performing is you're trying to even out the playing field. Well, that playing field is uneven beforehand, and so now we're obligated to pay higher premiums. That's everybody. And that's your guys' response. But now the market has changed. And so moving that goalpost has hurt all of us now. And that's what we're very upset and uncomfortable with as owners of land.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out one more thing. Believe me, my passion won't be so much into this, but if we just think about California's response to labor was, let's raise minimum wage. What happened? 35 to 50,000 people lost their job. All the fast food companies said, nope, we're not doing it, right? California said, we're going to tax the billionaires. What do they do? They're going to leave. They're out. They said, we're going to tax the businesses. What do they do? They leave. We're out. They said, we're going to tax the humans. Guess what? 600,000 people last year left. I have no faith in California. In fact, what I feel like is that they're doing it on purpose to create single-payer systems of control so that they control the narrative. Because if you look, what did you say? You said almost all your people are leaving, right? And that's just going to leave the state. And what are we talking about? Let's create a state fund. Let's create a state. Let's create single-payer health insurance. Let's create single-payer insurance. And that, my friends, is the socialist, communist manifesto being at play right in front of us. And it is. And this isn't because they're not smart and they don't understand what they're doing. That is foolish. They do understand. That's why when the idea comes out about rent control, that they're like, oh, we need to control the rent. Everybody knows that when you put rent control in, what happens? Developers stop building, you have even less houses. And this is the power play of California. And I know this isn't in your purview of being in charge, and you're the person that comes to tell us, what's going on from the state's point of view, and I very much appreciate that. But you could take a message back to the state and tell them that we're unhappy. That's what I think. And I appreciate everything you coming and, unfortunately being the person that has to listen to us. So, especially me, I'll apologize ahead of time. I'm sorry.
State reps here.
Right. We don't get very many state reps here. Right. That's true. That is true. So, yeah. So,
I mean-
anyone else want to say anything before we let
Yeah,
them go?
just again, your guys' aim is to stabilize the premiums. Premiums wouldn't be so high if you guys you guys took care of business beforehand, just like everybody here has stated. So that is not a good aim anymore.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on to a brighter note. Sorry, apologize to the public. New business spotlight.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. My name is Desenia Medina. I'm the Public Outreach Coordinator with the City of Coalinga, and I'm excited and very proud to be introducing some new businesses that are getting established here in Coalinga. The city is taking that initiative. Our council, our mayor, our city manager all want to go ahead and promote those business opportunities. So I am going to have everyone that I invited today stand up and join me in line over here. You can go ahead and introduce your business, what services you provide, and any information you would like to read to the public. So I'll go ahead and have you do that now. Ooh, we got one lucky one.
Good afternoon, council, mayor. I'm gonna try to not make you as mad as that last guy did. I'm sorry. So I'm here in representation of Coalinga Youth Baseball. We are a nonprofit here in Coalinga, recently becoming a business through the city, so we can access fireworks booth hopefully this summer. Still hasn't been quite approved yet. Jumped through all of the hoops that I've had to in order to do that, but just trying to provide some funds. We do have 3 all-star baseball teams this year that we've provided 2 sets of jerseys, 2 hats, rolling bags. We have 140 kids roughly in our system, ranging from 5 to 12. Just trying to give back to them with as many things as possible. Recently worked with the healthcare district to get a grant through them, received some money from Pleasant Valley State Prison as well. So love working with like local companies and stuff, especially when they're willing to give back to the kids. But yeah, as a business, that's all we're trying to do. Just give back to them, give them as many options to stay off the streets, be responsible kids involved in sports for as long as possible. So yeah, that's all we're here for. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. You guys have questions?
Yeah. Actually, I was going to open it up to council, see if anyone had any questions or comments.
Yeah, I guess, watching you guys practice by my place, I think that's inspired me to help out. And I see the dedication that all you guys are putting in.
Yeah.
So I think you and I have worked together on that. So
Cool.
I'm really proud of everything
Yeah.
that you guys have done there. So,
Abel's company is one of our sponsors this year, and we appreciate it. Yeah, he sponsors a team.
Yeah, and another note, he also helps out for Oilers as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so just and the thing is, this is what, being involved with the kids has to do. It's now another 24-hour job for you guys,
Yeah.
and it keeps on going. And hopefully, anything that we could help, hopefully we could do it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate all your hard work and dedication to the community and everything that you and your volunteers and your players bring back, and they make us look great. And
Yeah.
I'm super happy that this is continuing to grow.
Yeah. No, thank you. We will be representing the city of Coalinga this year at the state tournament in 3 different age groups, 9U, 11U, and 12U. Hopefully we can do a good job. Last year was the furthest that we've made it as a division. They made it to the semifinals of the state tournament, and that's against like a lot larger schools like Hanford, Bakersfield, Visalia, things like that. So it's tough once it gets that higher level of competition for a small community like us to compete. But we've put some pretty good talent out there recently. Both of my sons that are here, they play on the all-star team, 9U and 11U. So my wife is our secretary. And we have, like I said, I'm involved with the Oilers as well. We all try to work together, us youth sports, and Tyrell Davis, he's an amazing asset for me to have to be able to reach out to him. He's the one who helped me get all this stuff put together for the fireworks booth. So
I was excited to see you involved, man. You're a really good coach. I like to see what you do. I like to see you involved with your kids. Just want to say thank you, and I want you to reach out to our fabulous Jasenia, and she'll put our promotions up, get you flying, let the community know, and get your support behind you.
awesome. I appreciate it.
And we also we'll get you guys with some of the lobbyists when we go to our conventions. There's a lot of people that love to donate, so we'll try to get a hold of them and see what.
Yeah, well,
we
we
do
love
for you
money,
guys.
so I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Guys, have a good night.
Appreciate it, Joshua. Here's my contact in case you have any questions. Thank you. All right, did we have anyone else join us for their business?
Good afternoon. My name is Enrique Hernandez, and I'm the recent owner of the Coalinga Motel. I've been posting on Facebook, and but we're going slowly but surely with remodels and getting that going on. So if you guys want to ask any questions, I've got pictures if you guys want to see. The first bathroom's being redone right now, and it looks like it's never had like a good, proper, professional look at it. So I do it all, but I'm at a point where I'm a superintendent over in Paso Robles, and it's a tough job. And then after that, to come over here and work at the little things I can before it's night. And it's a motel, so I can't work during the evenings and early mornings. I can't disturb like the neighbors. So weekends are right now the ones that are jam-packed with just doing little things here and there. And then I know that the Toad Festival is coming up, and our motel is right in front of that. So I'm very, like he was saying, I'm more for like having the community welcome us and change the aspect of what that look. Because the first aspect of it was, it's a traditional old school motel, but it's got every city has its little bad pockets, but those little bad pockets, they change. They have to change, and the only way that happens is if we make the change. So my wife and I, my 2 kids, took that initiative. So we're really hands-on, and our savings is in there. So I didn't have a mortgage before, and from the seller that sold it to us, we've got a mortgage, so we've got to, excuse my language, but we got to do everything we can, kick ass. Otherwise, we lose it. But with everybody's support, as meaning, you know, if you got family over, right now we're so transparent. That's why we wanted to do it really publicly. Rooms are not super nice like a franchise is, but we need to make that aspect reflect on what Coalinga has to offer, because I fell in love with this town a long time ago, and so I've always wanted to continue in this town. My family and I, we live in San Ardo. We used to live in Watsonville, but it's expensive. And talking about the insurance, just that alone is killing us at the motel. So definitely not a $2,500 premium, but it's up there. And I was talking to Scott, and so, you know, a vacancy of like 3%, okay, possible. But that's an old school motel, and it was run with pencil and paper, so there's not much faith in that. So we're changing all that to make everything as transparent as possible. Cash is a lot in there, but we still don't have like all the rooms filled up. So eventually we need to get to that to be able to get financing, to be able to repair a lot faster. And that's the limiting factor for my small family, not having the resources to make those quick changes as we would hope. So that's why we thought, you know, the best way to do is completely be transparent with everybody, look at everything, and then do the things we can. Being a super, I'm able to bring materials that we can remodel the motel and make it nice, making a really nice part of town, and, you know, and open it up for other businesses, because I've been a part of that. You know, if it, like, other businesses need to have meaning interlocking, right? Invite other businesses to assist the guests that are staying there. That's what I've been doing lately as well too. So just reaching out to other businesses so we can just commingle and continue to prosper. So any questions?
Any questions from council?
I'm familiar with your social media. I saw when you came into town, bought the place and everything. It's really cool to see you enthusiastic, your family involved, and you're eager to take part in Coalinga. We're looking for that change. It's neat what you're doing. It's going to come with its own struggles and obstacles and all that stuff, and it's exciting to see you ready to take those on and put on a new face. I was very good friends with the owner before last of the ones. They did a real good job of getting that change started. Unfortunately, age got the best of them, and they had to get out from under it. So hope you're in for it, and it's good to have you.
Yeah, definitely. And I took a risk. I didn't want to put my kid's face on there, but I wanted to be straightforward with everybody from the beginning, and I think that does. I wanted them to be here today, but our godson became a sheriff over in San Jose, so he went through his ceremony this evening. That's why they couldn't be here, but I did want to have everybody present. But thank you. Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, I believe that was all the businesses that we had. I appreciate it. We do want to continue this in the future. So any future businesses coming up, we'd like to invite you from the city. Okay, thank you.
And thank you. So we're going to move on to citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes in accordance with state open meeting laws. No action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for follow-up and a report. We have any public comment? And I'd also just like to point out, as usual, that if you would like to participate in our discussion items, that we have discussion cards over there for you to fill out, and all you got to do is put your name on there and which item you want to talk about.
I was invited here today to kind of give you guys some new ideas about what I'm collaborating with the owner of Tropicana right now. My name is Trinidad Nunez. I'm pretty sure I said that, but I am a Coalinga citizen. I've lived here majority of my life. I graduated Coalinga High School in 2017. I'm a very artistic person, and I wanted to kind of share the new ideas that me and the owner Abdul are working with. We want to bring to life some murals to the city. I believe that the city could benefit from, more beauty, more art, more life in our city. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of introduce the ideas. We will want to submit properly, to the city. I'm kind of new to this whole process. This is my first time in city council, so give me a little bit of grace. But yeah, there is. I think that's about it. I did bring a portfolio of mine to kind of introduce my work. I'm kind of new to putting out my artwork, but I do have a lot of experience, a lot of skill work, and I do want to collab with the community as well to kind of get projects going just for not just any businesses, but, homes and anything of that sort.
All right. And did you bring a copy of your?
Yes, I have a hard copy. I'm kind of old school.
That's fine.
I print everything. And I also have PDF files of those.
So, yeah, we'll look at it, and then if it's okay, if she could scan them and then
Yeah,
kind of
of
send
course.
them out to us.
Yes, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And then, yeah, I think that was it.
But we very much appreciate you coming and interested in beautifying the city.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it's like just to put a face to the name. So just so you guys know.
excellent.
Thank you,
Well,
guys.
thank you so much. Do you need these back, or can we?
No,
keep
those
these?
are yours. Those are just copies. Like I said, I have a PDF. I believe I have Jesse's email. So if you need to get in contact with me, he has my email. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully collaborating with the city to kind of put some artwork out there.
Excellent. Well, we will have Shannon scan those and then send them out to us so that we can give a good look at them.
Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else for citizens' comments?
What's up, citizens of Kalinga? My name is David Gutierrez. I've been writing things the last couple of months since I last came. I just want to, I'm not trying to tell you guys my life story or anything like that, but I'm gonna kind of try to tell you guys a little bit of how I understand this topic. I'm talking about public housing for this subject. I got a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, but that's what I'm talking about today. So when I was 9 years old, I became homeless. Me and my family. We're living on the streets, family, homeless shelters. I live with my Nina and my grandma. Shout out to you guys. But we got the opportunity to live at the Fresno County Housing Authority's apartments, and pretty sure we're all a little familiar with that. Well, I had to go live in Huron because that's where they're at, and I've always lived in Kalinga my whole life. So I always wondered, why does Kalinga not have those apartments? And it's always kind of just been in my mind. And I've always been just a stupid little kid, just kind of always telling the manager, like, man, why don't you guys go to Kalinga? Why don't you guys build over there? They would always tell me, oh, we want to go over there, but I don't know, there's just, process and things. And now that I'm older, I kind of just feel like I could come talk about it, speak my mind a little bit, Well, I kind of just been doing a little bit of research about this, and Kalinga, we used to be a top 5 biggest city in Fresno County. Now we're 7. That's according to census and stuff, just basic information you could get online, Yeah, I just feel like we should try to see if we could possibly bring over the Fresno County Housing Authorities over here, because we could use some more public housing. When I went to go move over there, I'd always tell them, like I said, why don't you guys build in Kalinga? Obviously, there's stuff that they go through, but the city of Kalinga, in that time, since I was 9 years old all the way to now, we've added so much more apartments, Pacific, Wharton, senior citizen houses, But now that I moved back to Kalinga from living in Huron previously, when I would try to move back here, the waiting list was like hundreds of people, 100, 200, 300 people on the waiting list. Now recently, that waiting list cut down to like way less, like 20, 30, 10 people sometimes on the waiting list. Well, that just kind of tells me that all these people on the waiting list went to these new apartment complexes. So these new apartment complexes gave us the opportunity to keep people in Kalinga, you know? And I think if we were to bring the Fresno County here, the housing authorities, it would open the door to bringing people from outside of our Kalinga, outside of our town, to our town. More people, more income to the economy. More people, more stuff we could do. I seen that the Boys and Girls Club, that's something that's connected with them, with the Fresno County Housing Authorities. They just got a grant. They just gave a donation I seen to the school district over there in Huron. And I mean, any little thing could help us, you know, like helping the kids, you know, Boys and Girls Club, helping people get a roof over their head, shelter. That's something that they would do. There's like over 40,000 people on that waiting list to get subsidized to live in those housing authorities. And when you go on their website, Kalinga, like I said, top 10 city in Fresno County. When you go on their website, there's like 17 different towns that you could apply for to go live in those cities in Fresno County. Kalinga's not one of them. And I just feel like Kalinga should be. Why not? Why can't we be part of that? 17 cities in Fresno County that are part of that, and we're not one. I just feel like we could be a part of that. We could help. I mean, I grew up in low-income housing and all that, and yeah, I just feel like we could bring more people, you know, good people. I mean, that's kind of just what I just want to say. I got a lot more stuff that I've written down, but I'm not gonna talk about it right now. But I appreciate you guys for your time, and thank you guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You too. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, sir. Oh, we'll go with Mary first.
After something serious, it seems so trivial. We, at one point, were told that you were working on some more codification for animal treatment and rules, whatever, you know, all that stuff, that part in the city codes. And I have been wondering if there's any progress on that. There are some considerable rumblings among people about this and that, and I keep waiting to see if something will happen. One thing that's an issue that's such a ridiculous thing, except that it's not, some people are purposefully leaving food in random places, not only at their own house, but on random sidewalks or in other people's yards to feed animals. And the animal owners are not happy. And I am one that wouldn't be happy. My animal doesn't roam wildly, but he's on special food. And if he goes and eats regular food, he could die. So these animal owners are very concerned about that. And there's a big conversation about what's legal and what's not, as well as some other things, but that's a major issue. I know it's after the housing thing, it's like not a problem.
Thanks, Mary. Sir?
First, Scott Netherton, 424 College. Thank you guys for speaking up, and on behalf of the city and residents. I know that guy's just here to give information, but enough's enough, man. Anyway, now Scott Netherton, Kalinga Chamber of Commerce. As you know, we have our 89th annual Horned-Toad Derby coming up in 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of new things, a lot of old faces, a lot of change with Caltrans and the project being done. We're still awaiting confirmation on the parade route. Hopefully we'll get this next week. Other than that, everything's moving forward. Ticket sales are going well. Vendors, we're sitting about 70 on park. We got a lot of new things in the beer garden area. This area softball is larger than it's been in the last 10 years that I'm aware of. In fact, Friday night we're kicking off with an all-girls one-pitch tournament, which is new, and all the proceeds go to Kalinga Girls Softball. So we're really looking forward to a good time. Want to make sure you all know you're welcome. We're inviting you to come. Also excited to be a part of our 250th Independence Day. Thank the city for allowing the chamber to have a part. And I got to tell you first, this lady, great hire. Okay, keep her, because the work she's doing, you know, dealing with the drones, and she just seems to be on top of everything. And I just give you props. You're very, very good at what you do. You probably haven't noticed on our end, there hasn't been a lot of exposure out there yet. We're still awaiting information. One of the big things is going to be the pool. And I know the city's working on that behind the scenes, so is the school, and I'm hoping to get confirmation. As soon as we know that, we'll really be pushing out information about what we have coming. So we are going to have a parade. The chamber will be renting the practice fields from the school, as well as the pool complex, and as well as the middle school area for the drone show. There will be food vendors, there will be live entertainment. Talk with the chief, we're gonna have a lot of, hopefully, waterworks and excitement out there for the kids and the adults. It's hopefully gonna be an all-day thing from 10 a.m. till the drone show starts at 9. So, yeah, as soon as we get a little more information, we'll be getting it posted out there to the people and try and keep as many as we can. Not loving gas prices, but hopefully that helps keep them in town for a good show. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Scott. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, we're going to move on to public hearings, which it looks like we have 2. The first one, introduce and waive first reading of ordinance number 880, amending Coalinga Municipal Code sections 9-5128 and 9-5129 relating to commercial cannabis operations, including provisions for regulatory permits, operational standards, and other related regulatory requirements. Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is not a housekeeping item, this is spring cleaning. So this is a much needed update to our cannabis ordinance. It's very, very long. I'm not sure if you guys read through it all. Ms. Helmar with the Planning Commission for sure did, and she found a couple of tidbits that we looked into. But I can answer some questions for you, but basically we're going through it line by line, word by word, making sure we're erasing the duplicate definitions, making sure we erase all the conflicts, update for conformance with state standards, and kind of just going through and making sure that we're keeping up with the evolution of the industry. So the industry's changed considerably over the last decade, 2 decades, and I think our ordinance reflects that. And the work that Matt and Kyle did with SCI, making sure I get it. There's a lot of acronyms. They did a great job, and as well as our planners, Precision did. So a lot of hard work went into this. A lot of meetings, a lot of discussion, and the Planning Commission had some discussion items, and I'm happy to go over those with you. But in a nutshell, we got rid of the employee permits, as we discussed. We replaced the flat surety bond with a revised bond structure. And,
I wanted to add to that, because I know that was something you guys had talked about, was the bond. And so what we did is we actually increased it, and it's really driven towards being able to collect on back taxes. So I know that was a concern. So we did make sure, we talked with Mario's office to address that. So that is an issue that's been brought up and addressed in here. So the bond isn't just for abatement, it's actually specifically for collection of past taxes. So we'll be monitoring that. If we see that, those bonds will be able to be pulled and drawn upon if we have to collect back taxes. So, sorry, I just wanted to elaborate just a little bit on that.
No, thank you for that. As a matter of fact, the Planning Commission had a question about the penalties for 30 days past your taxes, your quarterly taxes being due for cannabis. So that we confirmed that that's 25%. So pretty stiff. So we're serious about getting our money, and but we did reduce the council did reduce the cannabis tax from 10% to 5%. So you'll be seeing that as well. So like I said, a lot in this, but happy to answer any questions.
Council have questions before I open the public hearing? So I did read the whole thing, and I like it, and you guys did remove quite a bit, and I agree, SCI and, you know, all of our partners in this, and the Planning Commission, and the city staff have done a great job in trying to tighten this up, and so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
No further questions. This is a public hearing, so we're going to open the public hearing to the public. If you have any questions, please come forward to the microphone, state your name, and we will see what we can do. Anyone have questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll be closing this public hearing. Any further questions from council? Comments? Seeing none, we need a roll call vote, or?
As long as Shannon can tell if there's anybody who votes no.
Okay. Can I entertain a motion to approve the new ordinance? Well, we're going to approve, introduce and waiving first reading of ordinance number 880, amending Municipal Code 95.128 and 95.129 related to commercial cannabis operations, including provisions for regulatory permits, operational standards, and other related regulatory requirements.
I will motion to approve that.
Okay.
As
I'll
stated.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Moving on to item number 4.2, which is another public hearing. Public hearing discussion and potential action to adopt resolution SA 351, authorizing the execution and recordation, that's an interesting word, of a corrective deed to remedy a vesting error, and therefore the transfer of 180 North Pierce Street, APN 071-123-18, to the City of Coalinga, including an affordability covenant, and adopt resolution number 4309, authorizing the acquisition of 180 North Pierce Street, APN 071-123-18, from the Coalinga Housing Successor Agency. Anyone have questions on council about this? And I think Sean.
It's in the words of Assistant City Manager Jesse. It's a spring cleaning issue. We're correcting the deed on the transfer when the transfer originally occurred for the Pierce Street, when it went from the successor agency. This is the first action of the process of us getting this back to from the city to the successor agency. Back to the city. And then once the city obtains ownership of the property, we'll be moving forward with the partnership with the community garden to get this moving. So this is kind of the first step of correcting the deed, so we can proceed forward with the transfer, and the city would acquire the property, and then from there we would move forward with any kind of coordination effort with the folks that are now running the community garden, for kind of a permanent solution for that partnership. I don't necessarily think we have anything else to add. Everything's pretty much attached and in the record, but it seems like a lot of documentation. But as we deal with the successor agency, the old RDA, there's a lot of paperwork that has to go with these. So I know we have folks from RSG who are consultants that handle a lot of the dissolution portion of the RDA and the successor agency. I don't know if they have anything else to add, but it's pretty much in a nutshell. That's what we're doing from this.
Do we have RSG on the line?
Yeah, this is Jim Simon, principal with RSG. I think Sean captured it well. This is a pretty small activity, but important to get it straight. The other thing to add is that with the purchase of the property by the city, the $37,000 would be deposited back into the housing fund. But other than that, that's really the only thing else to add.
Excellent. Anyone from council have any questions for city staff or RSG before I open this up for a public hearing? Seeing none, I'm going to open the public hearing. If anyone has questions or comments, you can use the microphone, state your name.
You know that this is currently the Coalinga Community Garden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody contacted the people that are in charge of the garden?
Yes.
You have? Okay, just wanted to make sure. I would like to believe, probably one of my fairy tale beliefs, that at some point the city might consider starting another community garden, and maybe with some more planning and more support, really get it going. As we live in the agricultural belly of California, it seems silly that we don't have a productive community garden when there's so much need for food, good organic. I mean, we had a whole thing. I haven't been over there since I broke my leg, but it was really a good thing when we had it going full steam. So I would like the city council to just put that thought in the back of your head that it's something that the community could really use.
Are you talking about an additional one?
No,
The existing garden's not going away.
it's not going away
No,
even though
this-
you're taking the property?
No. So this is purely almost administrative between the successor agency and the city. The city's acquiring the property, so then the city can work with the
Okay.
with
Okay,
the
thank
current
you.
with Alma and their group to actually make this a permanent thing for them.
Okay, I did not understand that. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Anyone else like to speak under the public hearing? All right. Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. Are there any further questions from council? Okay. Seeing none, can I entertain a motion on item number 4.2? No. No.
I move to adopt resolution number SA 351
There's two resolutions.
and what's the other one? Oh, 4309 and 4309. Yeah.
It's been moved.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, that also passes. Appreciate that. Thanks for all the hard work. Going to move on to the consent calendar where we have 11 items. Is there anything that council would like to look at closer?
Just information on.
And we tabled number 9, so it's actually only 10
I was
items,
gonna
so
pull 9,
my
but
bad.
9's good. Just information for the community for Imaginarium and their, so 5.7 and then 5.11, please.
Informational for 510.
Anyone else? All right, we're going to start with number 5.7. Sean?
All right, we'll clarify some things too. So this is basically just authorizing staff to proceed forward. I know we've received some direction in the past regarding entering into an agreement. Typically, we do professional services agreement, but in talking with the city attorney, we can actually proceed forward with just a kind of a monthly subscription through the Imaginarium or the paper. To do basically our goal is, starting the next couple months, is to do a one-page article kind of showcasing different things that are going on in town as part of kind of our public outreach efforts. So Jasenia and I have been talking quite a bit about kind of what that'll look like. We'll talk with the different departments and start putting together kind of monthly informational single page that'll be created by the city. Basically easy for Mary to basically throw into the paper to kind of showcase things going on. The departments are starting to kind of think about these things as a month in advance. Obviously things happen daily, so it's hard to tell exactly when things may be available to put into it. But our plan is to kind of put together a process that makes sense where we can start showcasing some things going on in the paper as well. So we'll be starting that as soon as we can, probably the next month or two, so we can start developing that. I know Jasenia's got a lot on her plate right now, so.
Any specific questions you have? No? Just for information? Okay.
So really the action tonight will just be to kind of push us to move forward.
I'm just glad to see this finally happening. This is one of the items that we put on the planning platter like a year ago, so glad it's happening. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Going to move on to item number 10.
Is that the bid award?
Consider bid award for resurfacing project phase 3. Informational from Councilman Ramirez.
Did you have a specific question? So this is basically, actually, Jesse, did you want to kind of give an update on this one?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the question is more about the bid protest or
I think it's just maybe more of a detail of what the project entails.
Okay, so we did, the project's going to be resurfacing Phase 3, Cape Seal project with American Asphalt South. This is California. Is this California? No, that's
It's multiple locations throughout
multiple,
town.
That's right, multiple locations throughout the city. We can give you a map if that's helpful. Okay, I don't have the map in front of me. Let me pull the bid summary and see if it's in there.
But it's similar to the previous phase we did where we do a lot of slurry and chip seal, Cape Seal throughout town. So there's just a variety of areas throughout town. We can put something out before the project starts and put out a map maybe on social media so people kind of see. There's usually a lot of information that goes out to the public prior to, because there's, you can't park on the street. There's times that you have to be off of it once the slurry's down. So we'll be putting information out to the public, but we can definitely, once the bid's awarded, then we can go ahead and move forward. We can get something out on social media with a map, just so folks are aware of the next phase. And we try to do this annually if possible. This is what we use a lot of our local street funds for. It helps preserve our roads for the least amount of cost, and we can do a larger bang for our buck in terms of really protecting the roads. So.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions on number 10? Seeing none, move on to item number 11.
Did you have a particular question on this one?
Resolution 4319 approving the City of Coalinga Americans with Disabilities Act grievance procedure and designating an ADA coordinator to administer the procedure.
Yeah, so this is basically it's a procedure that we haven't really had in place here in terms of general ADAs. As you guys may be aware, there's a significant amount of discussion going on about ADA, not just curb gutters and sidewalks and curb ramps. It has to do with everything, from websites to programs to, where it really talks about screen readers. And I think there was even something brought up at our previous meeting about making sure that PDFs can be read. And so as there's been a lot of information out there and a lot of regulation out there in terms of ensuring that these things are changed, we had to update our grievance procedures so people can file those proper grievances and a process in place. And we're supposed to have this in place also. So it basically provides people a way to be able to file a complaint and then a process for the city legally to go through that process to address those issues. And so the city's going through and actually doing a lot of updates. I can't remember how long ago that was a bill, right, that went out regarding this? Yeah. And so a lot of people are scrambling to do a lot of updates to their websites, to their processes, and this is one that we recognize that we don't have. And so we've been working with our existing risk managers to help us kind of get everything in line that we were required to have.
So it's a pretty involved position as far as the person that's going to be taking it on, right? Updating, constantly involved, and
it's just a process filing when we receive complaints, similar to any kind of risk management. If we have any kind of claim that comes in, it's the same process. It's very similar to that process. So the person that's handling this is familiar with these types of processes and handling our claims. I know council's seen these on agendas where we reject claims or accept claims. It's kind of the same process.
Any further questions on number 11? Seeing none, could I entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar 1 through 11 minus number 9 that will be tabled and brought back?
I move to approve the consent calendar with the removal of item 5.9.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, consent calendar passes. Moving on to item number 6.1, ordinance presentation, discussion, potential action items, direction and potential action regarding CPI-based adjustment to city fee schedule.
Thanks, Mayor. I wanted to bring this item before the council because it's been a while since we've had a discussion about it. There's no formal action or approval of a CPI increase tonight. But we wanted kind of the council to receive the information regarding the city's fee schedule and provide direction on whether the city council wishes to consider consumer price index adjustments to city fees. In the past, we have done that on an annual basis to kind of keep up with costs, but it hasn't been done since 2023, except for administrative and airport fees. So those are the only ones that have been adjusted. City fees are charges imposed on individuals or businesses for specific services provided by the city and are intended to recover the reasonable costs of providing those services. So if it's more of a service that's requested and the city provides it, fees are distinct from taxes and must comply with applicable provisions of the California Constitution, including Prop 4, 13, 26, and 218. We did a fee study back in 2017 prepared by Wildan that established the baseline cost of service for the city fees. And in January 2018, the city adopted a resolution to authorize annual adjustments to city fees based on consumer price index, but it had to be approved by the council annually. While the city has the authority to apply CPI adjustments annually, fees updates are not incurred consistently. So based on those changes, we're kind of just bringing this forward to get direction whether you want us to proceed with bringing something back for a CPI adjustment based on what the current CPI is. Like I said, we haven't done anything since 2023. So whether or not we're actually recovering the costs, as you know, and you'll see when we start talking about budget, we're always seeing salaries increase, healthcare increase, PERS increase, everything increases when it comes to staffing, as well as our operations increase. And these fees that we collect are attributed to those costs for service. But other than that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, but just kind of get some direction from the council. If you guys choose to bring it back, we can bring it back, or if you'd like to just table it for now and we can revisit it another time, that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah, I'd like to, I don't know what council agrees to, but I'd like to table it and bring it back later.
Sure.
I'd like to suggest that we entertain a study to, I mean, I realize that there's a need everywhere for raising rates, and it's been put off a long time, and in order to do it right, I think a study would be appropriate.
So, that's actually the reason I don't like this CPI thing right here, is because I do think it should be tied to a study and not tied to a CPI increase, specifically one out of San Francisco. So, I'm more inclined to go with that. Could I ask that we do the budget and that we see how much that we bring this item back as a study, but we do it after we understand a little bit more about the budget.
What's the study cost?
About
It's been
50 grand.
50?
Yeah, I don't know what we paid last time. I'd have to look. They can be pretty expensive. So we can at least start getting some pricing.
Putting it off, but I think it's something that it's important to do this right because it's going to end in.
It's been 8 years. It's been 8 years since we did it. Yeah.
So yeah, whatever the council's good with.
Yeah, I'd like to get an update and see what the numbers look like.
Could we, would everyone be okay with us getting through the budget first, and then we bring it back for discussion on
I
whether
think
or not
that's the
we're
smart
straight?
move. I think it's
Yeah, I
smart to see
agree
where
with-
we're at financially. If it's been 8 years, then a study's definitely in order, but we got to see where we're at financially.
So after we approve the budget, then can you put another item on the next time after the budget, and we'll bring that back and we'll talk about it? That way we have
Wait a minute.
information about the budget.
You said 8 years or since 23?
Well, there's only minimal fees were updated in 23, but really the study was done in 2017.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's worthwhile getting a little deeper on this one, and it's very important that we address it.
Yeah.
And it's a living thing.
Yeah.
So,
So you guys okay with having them get through the budget first and then bring this item back for us to decide whether or not we want to move forward with it? Yeah? Okay, perfect. All right. Gonna move on. Let's see. Better put this on the screen here so I can see it. Item number 6.2, City Council direction to negotiate an arrangement with the Coalinga Huron Unified School District to open the pool for the summer of 2026.
Great, thank you, Mayor, Council. So I do have some additional information tonight. I've been working with the school district on kind of gathering what it's going to take to partner to try to get the pool open this summer, which will also impact our ability to have the pool open for the 4th of July event as well. And from talking with the school, they are definitely eager and open to opening the pool during the summer. The way it's looking right now is probably July, the month of July, potentially depending on how quickly they can staff up, the possibility of covering some part of June as well to be open. It's kind of what they're looking at right now. So I received a proposal from the school in terms of what they need in terms of staffing, lifeguards, custodial services, cashiers, those types of things to run the community pool during the summertime. And so we've kind of gone back and forth and talked with them in terms of what they need. And then we've also talked about some type of financial support to be able to cover those costs. The school kind of takes the burden on a facility that's kind of a community facility that the school doesn't necessarily have all the funding for, specific for a community type operation during the summer. And so in turn, getting some information back from the school in the last few days, we've kind of gone back and forth to kind of see what's a reasonable approach in terms of staffing levels, the cost of maintenance, chemicals, all of that. And it's about, for about a month to month and a half, it's about $32,000 for staffing and to be open for that period of time, plus all of the maintenance. And then talking about how we would cost share is just looking at a 50-50 split to help support that. And so based on looking at that, we're looking at about $15,000 to $16,000. If the council is amenable to that, tonight we're just seeking direction to start working with the schools. If the council's supportive of going in that direction, the school's prepared to start moving forward as soon as possible with the commitment from the council tonight. And then we'll work with the school on an agreement to be able to, on the financial arrangement and the parameters of the facility being open. It's about I think it's about 102 hours, give or take, of total swim time that they have prepared for in July. And if earlier they can, and if they're able to get folks like a supervisor and lifeguards trained up sooner, they're willing to open up sooner if they can in June.
Does Lemoore have the aquatics? I think they have aquatics, right? I think the Park and Rec used to use Lemoore Aquatics where they bring and train the.
I think they have folks that can train.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think it's the folks that finding the training; it's getting the folks hired to actually do the lifeguard, be the lifeguards.
And what kind of hours are we looking at?
I have to. So in hours. Let me see if I have that. I don't know if they had specific hours. It was going to be during the week. I think it's like 6 hours a day is what they had. Let me see if I can find it. I think there was some discussion on that.
Is that free swim or is it charged per?
$2 a person, I think is what they've charged before.
Do they have like family night, adult swim, anything like that?
Yeah, so they have a family night, and they do have a family night on each night, and then they also have the regular community swim as well. I was trying to see if I have because they have the weekly community swim, family night swim offering, and then if they can also provide other things like swim lessons, other things they can if they have the proper staffing to do it and folks to do it.
Yeah, I definitely think the city needs to help. Definitely, we would love the 50-50 split. I think it's important to get it open as much as this summer as possible.
Yeah, if we could get it in June.
Yeah.
In June, because I mean.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
we could
is
get it
that-
in June. If it's 1 month in July, and it's just like
Yeah.
I try to get it going in June.
I'm 100% on board with it, but I would like to see it open as early as possible. School that's out June 4th anytime right after then would be good, and it goes back August 13th. So that's what, 2 months.
Yeah.
The kids would want to cool down in 100 degrees. So,
Especially if we're doing the half and half.
so I'd like to see longer than just July.
Yeah.
So if they can do it, we'd be willing to put in the extended cost to help them as well, if they could do that.
Yeah, and they're eager to open. They're eager to open up in June if they can. I think that the challenge for them is they have to upstaff in order to be able to do this. And so, with supervisors, we've talked about the other staffing from the. I mean, they've got 8 lifeguards that have to be hired, and because they have to have at one time they have to have 5 lifeguards on for a 4-hour period because they have to rotate due to heat. So they do have to do that. It looks like the way that they've got it proposed for July would be 18 days at 4 hours for community swim, and then 5 days at 6 hours for night swim, for the family night swim. So it's a total of 102 hours is kind of what they're proposing for the month of July. But if they can get upstaffed, if there's a staff that they can get right away, then they can open up a lot sooner. So I've already talked to Dr. Moore and told him whatever we can do to try to help with that. Try to, get folks that might be able to get on board sooner. We'll definitely try to assist with that as well.
Yeah, and even into August.
Yeah, I definitely need.
Yeah.
Definitely think that we can offer more support if we and let them know that that support's there. If they can extend, that would be appreciated.
Yep.
So is everyone on board with this?
So I have a quick question here. So is the aquatic facility only? So that's not usage of the snack bar, and our vendors or nobody can be there to.
I don't know what the plan would be for vendors. I can talk with the school and I can give you guys an update on that. I know they talked about cashiers, but that may be just for the $2 they collect when they come in. I can talk with them and see if there's any opportunities for vendors as well.
Yeah, because I. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, well, my understanding is that to be able to operate the snack bar, that you'd have to pay an additional amount. So I'd like more clarity if we're allowed to use that too to help support our businesses here in town.
Sure.
Because in the past, they've used either like, for example, Kalinga Youth Baseball will run the snack bar, do something like that.
Yeah.
Help them out, whatever we can with any organizations that are interested.
But also, if we have the opportunity to offer to one of our vendors,
Exactly.
the
Same thing. Yeah.
lemonade guy, somebody who wants to open it up, they want to take over the snack bar, relieve some of that pressure off the school. I think that opportunity would be good.
Okay. We all on board with that? And we'll have them negotiate also with the snack bar and see if we can't get some vendors in there. Because I know that when kids are there, it gets hot and people want. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
And I wanted to add something. One of the things that I've talked with the school is I think this is definitely a precursor to hopefully looking at something more comprehensive next year and working together. So unfortunately, it's not going to be like all summer long, but I think the plan is to really try to create some partnerships and really start working together, bring in other entities to really make this work. Because I've always said, and I even say to the school, I feel like they've been tasked with the burden of a community pool that a school is in the position of educating, and I think it takes a community to help support that. And so I think this step helps, and then we can move forward with trying to get something bigger and better next year. So we'll continue to work on that throughout the year, and hopefully next summer we'll see something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see, actually, to get to a point to where somebody doesn't have to come and push it every year. It's just an automatic kind of thing.
All right.
Can we pass that note to West Hills College? Because there's some kids that stay in their rooms, they don't go home, and maybe in the summer they could make a little extra money.
I've already been talking with the college too.
Oh,
So they're already open to helping us out however they can to partner on this as well. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Perfect. That's a win. That's good. All right. Moving on to another potential win here. Council consideration of funding the train to transport visitors during the weekend of the Horn Toad Derby. Sean?
Yes. So staff's, it was a agenda item to request for the council to consider the possibility of funding the train to kind of enhance transportation. It's our understanding that the trackless train it will not be at the Horn Toad Derby this year. The chamber was unable to secure that, it's increased cost. It's obviously additional cost for this event. And I think from a transportation standpoint, it's a great asset for the community. And so Councilman Schindler asked to bring this forward for the council's consideration, if the council would so like to support this effort to make sure that there is additional transportation outside of just folks coming and going in their vehicles. I think it's been utilized in the past, so in order for that not to go away, if the council so chooses, I can work with Scott and we can make sure this thing happens if you guys are amenable to it.
I think it was a success last year. I think we should consider it, yeah.
I think it's a cool little transportation
Yeah.
thing that we have going on. Not only target, get a good map, and get POSA and the outlying communities that make it hard for kids to get back and forth. Have it run the whole time. I know Scott's on it as far as identifying those places, so I think I'd definitely back that for sure.
You good?
Let's do it.
To post, it stopped at the college, it stopped at the fountain, it stopped at Keck Park, Kmart, Wine Country, Sandalwood. It took like 3 hours for that thing to make a loop. And gas and all that, it was just, so last couple of years, we kind of limited it to 3 or 4 stops. It didn't go to, I mean, Sandalwood's close enough. I know people, we don't want them walking all the time, but they can do it. Post is a little more difficult. So the route this year, if you guys did approve it, and again, it isn't that we didn't want it, it was just, we have a lot of other things we're doing, new things we're trying with, you know, the beer garden, other areas, and we lost our stage. We usually have Budweiser, it was already promised somewhere else, so we're having to take on some other costs there and stuff. So it just, with the increase, it just wasn't something we could do. It isn't a money maker. We never charged for it. It was a free, and the cost had gone up substantially, so we weren't able to do it ourselves this year. So I appreciate you considering it. But we're looking at a stop at Post of Chennai, one at Keck Park, and then one at Tractor Supply. And then, especially with all the construction going on, the curbs and gutters and the traffic flow and what have you, people love it. I mean, 2 years ago, I just happened to be in the trailer at the time. A guy came up, and very nice. And you guys seen our chamber trailer. You're looking down at the people, and he was looking up, and he said that he was in town for visitation with his kids, and he said he didn't have any money to do anything for them, but they spent about 3 hours riding that train around town, and the kids thought it was the greatest thing. So he came all the way over to the chamber trailer just to say thank you. So I mean, it is a good thing, and I'm grateful that you guys are considering it. Yeah, anything you need from us, you know, we do have signs that we have made up that we put out, like little bus stops that we put where people, so they know where to get picked up. And then we set up a drop-off area for them. And so, yeah, any questions you have about it? I know some of you have hijacked it on our wine walk, so you know it pretty well, but. So.
Yeah, I see Yesenia writing stuff down, so I'm sure she's gonna put that up there in social media. So that's
okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Council? Yeah? You just need direction, or do you need a vote?
It's up for direction, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can move forward.
Perfect.
You guys are approving the.
All right. Yep. Excellent.
I just have one, Mayor. Just a reminder, we have the budget workshop next Wednesday on the 13th. We're going to kind of do it more of a workshop session, so we'll have it down on the floor in chairs. I laughed because Jesse thought we were going to sit on the floor. We will, and then we'll be bringing packets and kind of at the meeting, because we're still solidifying some of the details right now on the budget. But we'll have a comprehensive discussion about all the different funds and about the approach that we're taking this year. Very similar to last year, but we're not starting from zero. We're starting from a base budget that we established last year. So We'll be able to give you an update on all the changes and go through all the projects. We'll have those prioritized for you, and then we'll allow you guys to shuffle them around if we want to shuffle them around a little bit.
Council members, announcements and reports.
I get, hey, Shauna, can you send me a formal invite on the calendar on Outlook? That way I'm in order.
Sure.
Thanks.
I like to bring back, right now we're just doing announcements, right?
Yep, announcements right now.
Because I don't know if it's agenda item. Just a,
Are you asking a question, or do you need
yeah.
to do something?
Yeah, basically. I want to see a direction of getting, bringing back with the chief, with the police department, the scooters and stuff like that, just to get an educational, maybe get with the highway patrol, see if we could give free helmets, lights, reflectors.
So I can give you a little bit of update. We actually just talked about this, that we're gonna, when National Night Out occurs in August, we've talked about doing kind of a similar thing we did last year with bikes, but I think we want to expand it to scooters. We have lights that we can probably purchase.
Okay.
And I think we still have leftover helmets and other things that we can do as well. So if you're comfortable waiting until August, we can do
yes.
that. We
Oh,
can
yes.
we can expand on kind of what we did last year with the
Okay.
inspections and everything.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank
So was that like before school starts?
you.
Or
Yeah. Yeah.
the
So
end
we'll have
of the
all
month?
the
it'd
school
be already-
supplies and everything. But last year we invited the kids to come out, bring their bikes. We can do inspections and do the licensing and all of that for them as well. But we can expand it to other things as well.
Any other announcements from council? Seeing none. City treasurer's announcements. Seeing none. Mayor's announcements. Today I did meet, it was a very short meeting, but I did get to meet with Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren. She came to town, kind of unexpected, but she did stop at the library. We talked for a little while. I did bring up the importance of how much we're paying for electricity and power. We talked about affordable housing. We spoke about some of the red tape with at the state level with housing, and you know, she's currently not our rep, but she has ran that district for quite some time. And with the redistricting, she will likely be our new rep if she wins her election. And so one of the other things that I really pushed for is that, because I had her ear, I said, we have this airport, we need help. And I said, we can't wait. We need help on this. And she gave me a lot of good ideas and a lot of good stuff. And so I'll be sharing that with city staff for you guys to reach out to her and her staff, and she is going to see what she can't do with the FAA and with some of the other agencies. And I absolutely would love to give a shout out to Officer Vega. That is our new champion in Kalinga. And what was it, the Battle of the Badges, or what was that what it is? Yes, it was Battle of the Badges in the ring. And just so everyone knows, we do plan on bringing him back for a formal certificate of appreciation for that. Pride of Kalinga, really cool thing. Maybe I'll ask Commander Young, has Kalinga participated in this before? No. So this is the first time. So first time and we get a win. Yes. Very nice.
I like to add, I seen him. He came over to my house to use my sauna, and it was like 40 minutes in there. He kept coming in and out, and the whole time I'm eating a slice of pizza. Felt bad for him. So, you know, congrats to him.
Jasenia, were you able to put something together to promote and show the community about his win?
The police department actually did. I was searching for some more media that we could possibly share, but they already made their post. So.
Excellent. All right, we're going to move on to future agenda items. Does anyone have future agenda items? And I don't either. So we're going to go to closed session, where we have two items: conference with labor negotiators and a conference for real property negotiations. And do we think we're going to be reporting out?
We do not.
Nope. All right, so this part of the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Sean's like, ooh, no items?